It's Friday. This is Bryn, and this is the Daily Joe. Yay, it's Friday! I hope you have fun weekend plans. Other than Friday and August 2nd, do you know what today is? This is pretty random, so I'm quite sure you won't guess. But it is Random Friday, so it's appropriate. Today marks 90 days until Halloween. Yes, I'm one of those. I love fall, and I love Halloween. I'm not all about the pumpkin spice, but I love apple anything, and I think Halloween is awesome. So, being as it's Random Friday, let's dive on down the rabbit hole. Halloween comes from Halloween, which is a contraction of Hallows Even or Hallows Evening. It's also known as All Halloween, All Hallows Eve, and All Saints Eve. It is celebrated on October 31st, as I'm sure you know, which is the eve of All Hallows Day, aka All Saints Day. It was originally part of a 3-day celebration called All Hallowtide. The All Hallow Triduum encompasses All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, and All Souls Day. That's on the Christian side of things. And by the way, this isn't the only Triduum in the Christian calendar. There's also the Easter Triduum, which is the 3 days before Easter. Many of the Halloween traditions we're familiar with are believed to hail from ancient Celtic festivals, particularly Samhain, but that is also annoyingly pronounced Samhain, for those who aren't sure. Samhain marks the end of the harvest festival and the beginning of winter. It's actually halfway between the autumnal equinox, which is September 23rd, and the winter solstice, which is December 22nd. Because the veil between life and death was considered to be very thin on this night, the ancient people believed spirits of pagan gods and of fairies, or nature spirits, could easily pass between this world and what they called the other world. On this night, offerings of food and drink were left outside. Dressing in costume was part of the festival, and people would go from door to door reciting certain phrases in exchange for food. Does this sound at all familiar? This dressing in costume was known as mumming or guising, and it can be traced back to 1296 and the festivities surrounding the marriage of Edward I's daughter at Christmas. The word mummer is from early New High German and means a disguised person. Anyway, back to Samhain. I mentioned that it is from ancient Celtic. To be more specific, we're talking about Gaelic Ireland, and Samhain can be found in some of the earliest Old Irish literature. It was one of 4 seasonal festivals. But Irish mythology, as with many old traditions of the ancient world, was spoken, i.e., orally recited, until it was finally written down. And here's where it comes around. When it was written down in the Middle Ages, the transcription was done by Christian monks. And these monks then, in turn, of course, Christianized it. There's so much I could go on and on about, but the rabbit hole is only so deep today. So, as we think about the fun and frolic of our Halloween, something the ancient Celts would scarcely recognize, let's be thankful for what has been left behind in the past, and that was animal and human sacrifice. But many things have come forward in different forms. I mentioned guising, also called mumming, and the ancient variation of trick-or-treating. But in part, bonfires in the fall come from past rituals, as does bobbing for apples, which was part of Samhain's divination rituals. Apples were thought to be connected to the other world and immortality. There was also a tradition of illumination in which turnips were hollowed out to become lanterns and were carved into grotesque faces. Some said that these were to ward off evil spirits. These, of course, became the precursors of today's jack-o'-lanterns. Why turnips? Probably because they were the available gourd. Gourds were the earliest farmed plant, dating back to circa 10,000 years ago. The Maori were carving them into lanterns over 700 years ago. The Maori are from New Zealand, almost 12,000 miles away from Ireland and the Celts there. And since they never encountered Europeans until the 18th century, I'm pretty sure that they had no idea about jack-o'-lanterns. They were just making lanterns. Side note, you never know where the rabbit hole is going to lead. I didn't foresee any of this. So, somewhere along the line, someone decided carving a pumpkin instead of a turnip would be a great idea. This was first recorded in 1834, and I'm glad that the switch was made. I can't imagine carving a turnip. And can you imagine Jack Pumpkin from The Nightmare Before Christmas as Jack Turnip? No, me either. And that, my friends, ends my Random Friday. If you're still with me, here are my plans. Today, August 2nd, 2019. Mostly, I'm catching up on everything I didn't do yesterday. Yesterday was frustration. Sometimes it happens, but this is 2 in 1 week, and I am over it. Today, I'm finishing Chapter 5 of The Billionaire's Beautiful Runaway, and 3 chapters of The Problem with Billionaires. Have a happy day! This is Bryn, signing off.